Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. It feels so good to be back. I'm still setting things up a little bit, but as you can tell, we're going to do some spoiler talk. Let me finish setting this up. Well, guess I'm going to have to use my wife's YouTube account just to be able to chat with y'all. Okay, let's get on with it. Okay, I don't know exactly. Hey, Vamp. Thank you. I miss everybody. Alrighty. We're going to do some spoiler talk today. Alright, first of all, start all the way down here. These unofficial spoilers. Okay, these are some pretty lands right here. I will say that. Okay. How's this how's it sound how does this sound on your end there, Vamp? Okay. First card. Blue Sun's Twilight. For X and 2 blue. Sorceries. Gain control of target creature with mana value X or less. If X is 5 or more, create a token that's a copy of that creature. So with this, you gain control of your opponent's creature, then make a copy of it. Now this sounds good. Now, let's say your opponent plays Sheoldred. So you cast this, and it's going to cost 2 extra blue, plus whatever, plus, the cost of Sheoldred. You gain control of Sheoldred, then you make a copy of Sheoldred. Unless that legendary rule kicks in. So if it kicks in, you probably won't get the token. But anyway, looks like a pretty good card. Next up, we have Soulbad Iron Goblin. Two and red, so a total of 3. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Goblin Artificer. You tap it, sacrifice an artifact, add an amount of red equal to the sacrifice artifact's mana value. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or to activate abilities of artifacts. Okay, well, this would not work with your tokens that you get off of Karn because they're not worth nothing. They're just regular tokens. They have no mana value, so this would not work with the Karn that we have that puts those tokens in the battlefield. Yeah, Power Stone tokens. That's what I'm thinking about. Why not work with Power Stone tokens? Okay. Next up, we have your Kadeen First Gold Warden for red and white legendary creature human rebel with trample. 2/2 with trample. And whenever your Kadeen First Golden Warden attacks, it gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of equipped creatures you control. Then if Jord Caden's power is 4 or greater, draw a card. This is pretty good for an equipment deck. Plus it has trample. Looks like a pretty good card. Okay, next one. Phyrexian Obliterator for 4 black. Creature Phyrexian Horror with trample. And whenever a source deals damage to Phyrexian's Obliterator, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents. So it's kind of like Ward. But if takes any damage, like say you block from it with it, then your opponent, however much damage it takes, is how many uh, permanents that your opponent has to sacrifice. So I believe this is going to see some play. Then we have Elesh Norn, Mother of Machines, for 4 and a white. Legendary creature Phyrexian Praetor. Vigilance. If a permanent enters the battlefield causes a trigger ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers at additional time. Permanents entering the battlefield don't cause abilities of permanents your opponents control to trigger. So this shuts down your opponent's enter the battlefield abilities. But let's say you play this with green. Then you bring in that one creature. I keep forgetting what creatures I'm trying to think of, but you play a one creature that creates a treasure token. Alright, you play it. Instead of you getting one treasure token, you get 2. So yeah, I can see Elesh Norn getting some play. Next, we have Koth, Fire of Resistance. For 2 and red, legendary planeswalker. +2, search your library for a basic mounting card, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle. That's good, because, it kind of ramps you up. I mean, make sure you don't miss your land drops. And -3, Koth Fire Resistance deal damage to target creature equal to the number of mountains you control. Now that's a good effect also. Then to ultimates, -7. You get an emblem with whenever a mountain enters a battlefield under your control, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target. Yeah, I can honestly think this Planeswalker is going to be a big target. Because I like these abilities for red, and for this Planeswalker, I can see it getting a lot of play also. And in 2 turns, you can do the alt and it'll still stay on the battlefield. It'll be 1 loyalty, after the second turn getting him out, if you do the ultimate. But for next turn, he'll go up to 3. And, keep getting your land. So yeah, I honestly think this Planeswalker is going to see some play. Next up, alright, that's December 13th. Next up is a Nissa Completed. And this in their thumb is in the way, so this is a unofficial spoiler. But for 3 green, can't hardly see it. Anyway, total is 6 mana. +1, create a XX green Phyrexian horror creature token where X is Nissa Ascendant's opponent's loyalty. So you automatically put this in the battlefield, you +1, you get an 8/8. Not bad. You do a -1, destroy an artifact or enchantment. Yeah. And then for minus something, to the end of the turn, your creature gets +1/+1 for each forest you control and gains trample. I'd like to see what that minus is, like what the ultimate is on this card. I will know more once they spoil it. Okay, next up, we're going to go all the way to the 19th. Karudamox the Rat King. For 1 black, legendary creature Phyrexian Rat with Toxic 1. And other rats you control have Toxic 1. And then when Karudamox enters a battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of rat cards along them and put them real cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Interesting. Okay, there is a enchantment in standard right now, I believe, and it gives your opponents 3 rat tokens, and then it transforms into a creature. Once it transforms into a creature, you gain control of those rat tokens. So this would be good with, so that enchantment would be good with this. Alright, next up, Green Sun's Twilight. I think every color has a Twilight card. For X and a green, sorcery. Reveal top X cards +1 card from your library. Choose a creature card and or a land card from among them. Put those cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is 5 or more, instead put the chosen cards onto the battlefield or into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay, so cast this for 6. You get a creature from your deck, put it directly out on the battlefield. No, actually, it'd probably be, I think, 7. Yeah. The X has to be 5. But yeah, you can do this. No? Yeah. 5, 6. Yeah, you do this for 6. So yeah, it's not bad of a card, I don't think. Because there's a lot of ramp in Hey, Investable Collectibles, welcome. I'm going over spoilers today. But yeah, this card right here, it's going to be I think it's going to see a lot of play in Arena. Okay. Next up, we have Kaido, Dancing Shadow for 2 blue and black. Legendary Planeswalker Kaido. Okay, whenever one or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player, you may return one of them to the owner's hand. If you do, you may activate loyalty abilities of Kaido twice this turn rather than only once. Interesting. So this card, I'd play it with something that has enter the battlefield ability, and that way you can attack with it, apply Kaido to the plus, and then bounce that card back to your hand. And then you can do +1 up to one target creature can't attack or block until your next turn. +0, draw a card. -2, create a 2/2 colorless drone artifact creature token with Death Touch. And whenever this creature leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2. Interesting. So it costs 4. And it enters the battlefield with 3 loyalty counters on it. So you can automatically enter this, put this in the battlefield, do the -2, get the Death Touch artifact creature. I believe this will see some play. Okay, next up, we have January 5th. Naya, Sun's Vanguard for 2 red, white, 3/3. Legendary creature, human rebel. Attacking tokens you control have double strike. Okay, this worked good with tokens. I mean, no doubt about that. But you got several token generators in standard right now. Snellsia Uprising, which is a red token generator. Wandering Emperor. There's just a lot of tokens in standard right now. Okay, every time one or more tokens you control attack a player, exile the top card of your library during any turn. If you have attacked with a token, you can play that card. Interesting. So it helps you get cards out onto the battlefield every turn. If you have, the mana to pay for it. You still got to pay for the card that you exile. So it's not bad. Alrighty, let's go to the next one. Okay. Azel, descendant of Atraxa. 1 for 1 white, black, and green. 3 colors. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Angel. Flying Vigilance and Toxic 2. And then it also has Corrupted. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters exiles the top card of his or her library face down. You may look at that card and play those cards as long as they remain exiled. And you may spend mana as if it was any color to cast this spell. Interesting. So you have to attack this 2 times in order to get that corrupted effect. Hey, Pauls, welcome. Okay. Thank you. Is that any better? Okay. So this has corrupted. And I'm still trying to set everything up, get rid of the echoes and everything. Let me do something real quick. All right, that might have took care of it. All right. Is that better? Okay. Yeah, I can see this card getting some play in Arena. Okay, next up we have some more unofficial spoilers. First up, we have the Eternal Wanderer. 4 white legendary planeswalker. Which this is an interesting card. No more than one creature can attack this planeswalker's each combat. So this has some protection. And then for one, exile up to one target artifact or creature. Then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of that player's next end step. Okay. You can play your prototypes on the battlefield for cheap. And then once you then use the +1 on Wanderer Emperor, exile that card. And then at your end step, it comes back as on the big side. That's pretty good. Now you got another ability, which is 0. Create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with double strike. Alrighty. Double strike is very good. Okay, then -4. And you can do this as soon as this planeswalker comes out because it's a 5 loyalty. Okay, so you can do the -4, and for each player, choose a creature that player controls. Each player sacrifices all creatures they control not chosen this way. So, say your opponent has a big creature, and you have these, and that has Death Touch. Then they have another creature on the battlefield, say a little 1/1 token. Okay, you do the -4. You select your biggest creature. You select their token. They keep their token, but then everything else gets sacrificed. Yeah, definitely this planeswalker is going to see some play. But 5 loyalty, yeah, I still think it's going to get some play. Next up, we have Conduit of Worlds. 2 green artifact. You may play lands from your graveyard. Tap it. Choose target non-land permanent card in your graveyard. You haven't cast a spell this turn. You may cast that card. If you do, you can't cast additional spells this turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay. I like this for ramp before. Play this artifact before. And then those fetch lands that we have in standard right now, that you can choose one of 3 different lands, will work great with this card. So you can keep playing those fetch lands, gaining that life, and getting your lands, and there's definitely going to get some play. Next up, we have Phyrexian Arena for 1 black enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may draw a card. You draw a card and you lose 1 life. Big deal. That's just 1 life. That's for 1 black, enchantment. Not too bad. I'll say this probably get some play. But it does have, card advantage. Next up, we have Dragonwing Glider for 3 red artifact equipment. For Moradin. When this equipment enters a battlefield, create a 2/2 red rebel creature token. Then attach this to it. So so when you play this for 5, you get a 2/2 out of it. And actually you'll be getting a 4/4. Your token will be a 4/4 because this equipment will be attached directly to it. And let's say your 4/4 dies. Yeah, you had to equip it for 5 for the same cost that it comes out on the battlefield. This it's good, but this is just opinions. I don't think this card will get much play. Just because of the 5 cost, and it's only gives your creatures a 2/2 bump. And the equipped cost is the same as the casting cost. That should be probably at least 4 equipped. Maybe 3. But 5, no. It costs too much. Next up, we have a land. Copperline Gorge. Copperline Gorge enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or fewer of the lands. Tap it for red or green. Yeah. Nice, pretty. I like the artwork there. Looks. Alright, we have another creature here. Migloss Maze Crusher. For 1 red and green. Legendary creature Phyrexian Beast. Migloss Maze Crusher enters the battlefield with 5 oil counters on it. Okay, and for 1, remove an oil counter from Migloss. And it gains vigilance and menace until end of turn. A 4/4 for a 3, yeah. Then you pay 2, remove 2 oil counters from Migloss, and it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Okay, then you pay 3 and remove 3 oil counters from Migloss and destroy target artifact or enchantments. Yeah. I can see this card getting some play. A 4/4 for 3, yeah. That's pretty good. Next up, we have another land. And it's the Seed Core. Land, Spear. Tap it at colorless. Okay, you can tap it at 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast Phyrexian creature spells. Not bad. Then it has Corrupted. Tap it, target 1/1 creature gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Activate only if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Okay. Yeah. This probably gets some play. Next up, we have Arcatum Masticore for 5. Artifact creature, Phyrexian Masticore. First strike, protection from multicolor. And at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Arcatum Masticore unless you discard a card. When you discard a card this way, destroy target non-land permanent opponent controls with lesser mana value with mana value less than or equal to the mana value of the discarded card. Now this card, I think it would work good in a Reanimator deck. So you pay 5, you discard something like, let's say, Toxtrol, which is costs, I think, 8, 7. You got 7. So you discard Toxtrol. Okay. When you discard Toxtrol with this, you get 7 damage to whatever. So yeah, that's pretty good. So I can see that getting some play. Now we have a 1 green. Venerated Rot Priest. Creature. Phyrexian Druid. Toxic 1. Whenever a creature you control becomes a target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter. Kind of like that ward ability from Mirth. Shoot. Kind of like ward, where it makes your opponent sacrifice Mishra. Yeah, kind of like Mishra's Makfawa ability, but instead of them sacrificing a permanent, they get a poison counter. But this protects your creatures, what I'm getting at. This is interesting. And there's a combat trick to this. Okay, with this, it still works like Infect, where opponents gets 10, they lose the game. But you could target your own creatures. And this is out on the battlefield. And when you do, your opponent gets the poison counters. So this card, I can see it getting a lot of play. Plus it's a 1/2 with it's a 1/2 and it only costs 1 green. Yeah, it's gonna get some play. I mean, it does die to cut down, but it's green and there's protection in green. Like Tamiyo Safekeeping, it's still in green. Then we have another artifact creature for 2. Phyrexian Construct. Whenever a creature casts their first multicolored spell each turn, each other player draws a card. So, you play this, your opponent casts a multicolored spell, you get to draw a card. This might be good, but it'd been better back in Streets of New Capenna, where they were concentrating on 3-color decks. So yeah, I don't see it getting much play. Remember, all this I'm saying, just my opinion. Okay. Next up, Tron, Breaker of Silence. 3 green. Legendary creature. Troll Shaman. With this spell can't be countered. Here we go again. can't be countered creatures. And it has trample. Braum, Worker of the Silence, can't be targets of non-green spells your opponents control or ability from non-green sources your opponents control. As long as it's your turn, Braum has indestructible. Okay. With this, once it gets out on the battlefield, it more likely it's going to be out on the battlefield for a while because of its ability of not being able to be destroyed by anything except for green spells. And yeah, and again, it's green, got protection in green. So yeah, this card is going to see a lot of play, I believe. The 5/5 or 5. Yeah. And trample. Got to be a good card. Next up, we have another Twilight card. It's Red Sun's Twilight. For X red sorcery. Destroy up to X target artifacts. If X is 5 or more, for each artifact destroyed this way, create a token that's a copy of it. Those tokens gain haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. This is okay. I mean, yeah, it's a good board wipe against artifacts. However, say your opponent has portal out. So you destroy your portal and 4 others. You get a copy of portal. That portal don't get rid of your opponent's creatures. Yeah. You get rid of 3 creatures. Whatever. And other than that, at the end step, you lose the portal. But yeah. This card might get some play, but I don't think it'll get much play. I mean, it'd be alright if you didn't have to exile them at the beginning of the next end step. Next up, we have a multicolored Venser Corpse Puppet for a blue and a black. Legendary creature Phyrexian Zombie Wizards with lifelink and toxic 1. Whenever you proliferate, choose 1. And I don't know why this is saying 182. Anyway, if you don't control a creature named the Hollow Sentinel, create the Hollow Sentinel, a legendary 3/3 colorless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token. Interesting. Target artifact creature you control gains flying and lifelink until end of turn. Yeah, not bad. And I believe I just had a crash. Dag blaggit. Anyway, that'll be the end of the stream. We'll go over some more spoilers tomorrow. All right.